Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, I would like to quickly give you a clue of what is going on so far. I have um, I have a question that I gave the students to answer, and this is in mental health and psychiatry. And the responses I received, the responses I got, they prompted me to discuss this question. Okay. The responses prompted me to discuss this question. So, the way I'm going to discuss this question is I'm going to show you some of the responses that I got from the students, and then I'll tell you which response is correct. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the do's and the don'ts in this presentation. So, this is the question that was asked, and this is a scenario. So this patient was suffering from mania, and I'm very much interested in how question D has been answered so far. This question was carrying 30 marks only, and they were supposed to identify five nursing problems Diana would experience and discuss the nursing interventions for each problem identified. So, um, let's see how they were answering these questions. So the first response that I have here, the first response I have, this student identified several problems, of course, but I've just decided to look at one of the problems that she identified. This this student knew what she was doing, and this is how she decided to present this information. Okay. So she identified the problem, of course, anxiety of the patient and family due to lack of knowledge on the condition. Okay, this is how she did it, and she identified the problem. This is the problem she identified, which is anxiety. Then she went on to talk about the goals, and she wrote these three goals. So in her response, for every identified problem, she wrote goals. Then she put up these interventions as follows. Now let's just look at two of the interventions under anxiety as a problem that she wrote down. So for interventions, she began by the first point she wrote is that I will ask the patient and family when the condition started uh, as my history. Right. So from this intervention, I think this patient is this student is off key. She was talking about anxiety, but then she begins to take history. You see, so these are some of the mistakes that students make. The problem identified is different from the interventions that are being put in place. The next point, let's see the next point. Maybe she corrected it. I will do a history taking. You see, she's still taking history from the patient. So these are some of the challenges that we face when um, we are marking such questions, because students um, mix things up. Okay, let's see the third point. Maybe I will nest the patient in a well ventilated room to promote air circulation. Anyway, these interventions that she put up are not making sense. Let's go to the next presentation. The next student, this is how she answered. This is how she presented her information. You see, this one did not write a table, and this one wrote a table with two columns. So first column had a problem, the next column had interventions. This is good presentation as well, you see. So the first problem for this client, for this student, she identified the first problem, which is altered nutritional status. Then she put up the interventions for altered nutritional status on the other end. All right, so let's see just two of her interventions. I will give the patient food um, in a balanced diet to prevent malnourished. Okay, so this is to prevent the patient from being malnourished, I think, or to prevent malnourishment. The other point, I will give the patient food and uh, wait for her to eat. Right, all right. So, yes, so she did not give a rationale why she's going to be waiting for the patient to eat. There must be a rationale, you know. Okay, so these are some of the interventions which are not so bad. Risk of injury. This is a very nice point, especially when you're managing a client with mania, ladies and gentlemen. Very important point. Okay, I will remove all the sharp equipment to prevent injury. Okay, I will nurse the patient in a safe environment to prevent injury. And these repetitions, anyway, I will monitor the movement of the patient to prevent injury. This is a mistake again because monitoring does not prevent injury. Monitoring helps you to detect dangers earlier so you can put in interventions on time. Okay, before anything bad happens. So, monitoring does not prevent, no, it helps you to detect any alterations from normal or any deviations from normal. Okay, so monitoring, this is a wrong rationale for this kind of an intervention. Okay, so this is another way the information was presented. Let's look at another way information was presented. So we have this one, who is the same question, mind you, and this student this presented her information in this manner. She wrote a full nursing care plan where she identified the problem, the nursing diagnosis, then the goal, put up interventions, and then the evaluation. So this kind of response for the question that was given, this is not how information must be presented, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so these columns, they are useless. You just wasted time including these columns here. Okay, so for the kind of equation that was asked, a student was supposed to just write two columns like this one, like this one. She just wrote two columns, just the problem and the interventions. Okay. Or information was supposed to be presented in this manner, not in a column form, but in this manner. But there is no need of writing these goals again. Okay. No need for the goals, just a problem and the interventions without a table. I think I've got one. Let me see if I've got one of the students who answered like this without putting her information in a table. Let me see. Okay. um okay, I have one student who wrote like this. She started by putting information in. She started by drawing a table, then she realized that she was not supposed to draw a table, and this is what she did. So she was just identifying the problem and put up the interventions down here. Okay, exactly. So there's no need for these nursing goals. You'll just be wasting your own ink and wasting time. Okay, so just identify the problem, then you write the interventions. because the question, because that's what the question was asking for. Look at the question again. Look at the question once more. So look at the question again. So the question is saying, identify 5 nursing problems Diana would experience and discuss the nursing interventions for each problem. So there's no need of writing that full nursing care plan. Okay. Information must be presented either in a table form like this with 2 columns only, one for the interventions and one for the problem identified, or it can be presented in this manner where you identify the problem and under the problem you write your interventions. That's it. Okay, so this is what I wanted to highlight. Now I'm going to talk about later on in the next short video. I'm going to tell you when you're supposed to write a full nursing care plan like this one. Okay, when are you supposed to write a full nursing care plan like this one? We're going to discuss that later on.